tell my listeners first who you are and what your company is.
My name is Sandy Stinson. I'm the president and the founder of GoodWag. We are the creator of one particular product. I'm expanding my product line, but right now it's just one product, which is PooPail.
Nice, nice. So let's go back to the origin story. So what's the background? Kind of talk to people. This they can't see it right now. They don't know about it. So what is this doing?
PooPail is the world's first two-in-one system for backyard pet waste. It's the first product that allows you to pick up and clean your whole backyard with just a flick of the wrist in minutes. And then PooPail stores the waste for you for up to a week. Simply change and toss the PooPail liner bag each week on trash day, and the bags are compostable.
Nice, nice. Well, how'd you get into this? What's your background? What's the origin story to this?
The origin story is I had two dogs and a large backyard. And I also had side gates, to get to the front of the house, which I kept locked because I was afraid that somebody would open, a worker, whatever, would open the gates and let my dogs out. So I always kept them locked. Um, I would go, and during the dark days of winter, I would leave for work when it was dark. I'd come home when it was dark, and then I'd go out on Saturday to pick up the yard because the dogs had a doggy door. They'd go in and out all the time. And I would spend half my day picking up dog poo. And it's the least favorite job of every dog owner. And I thought
Yeah.
there's got to be a better way. Because every utensil out there was pick up a single pile, deal with it, pick up a single
Hmm.
pile, deal with it. It would take, I'm not kidding, it would take half the day.
Yeah.
And so I started playing around with things. Like I looked in stores, there was nothing. So I started using an office-sized trash can and a kitty litter scoop, which was
Hmm.
fine until it rained.
Right.
And that was disgusting. So I said, I need a covered trash can and a kitty litter scoop. And then which worked,
Hmm.
but I kept thinking, if I want something like this, other people probably do too.
Hmm.
So I went through a string of engineers before they got my idea.
Hmm.
Finally I was ready to patent what I had, what I thought was a decent product. But I told my patent attorney, it's okay. I don't love it, but, it'll work. And he goes, well, I've got a guy. And so he put me in touch with an engineer, and, and together we came up with PooPail. In spring of 2021, I had a Kickstarter campaign and sold $560,000 worth in 30 days.
Wow.
So I proved the concept.
Hmm.
Then, because of COVID, it was not all that difficult to deliver them.
Hmm.
Originally, I was going to manufacture in China. That I had molds made, and that's where they were. But, through the crowdfunding campaign, they said, oh, we want a taller version. We want wheels. We want more colors. And so I had to make some mold modifications. I asked the manufacturer how long, and they said 30 days. And I didn't hear back from them for 6 months because they'd shut down during COVID.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole time I'm talking to my backers and I'm telling them the story, and they are like, "You're a liar. You're a liar."
Yeah.
Nobody wants to deliver this more than me. And then by the time that they did open up, then we had the supply chain issues. It used to be $3,000 in about 3 weeks to get a container over. That changed to $30,000 in 6 months.
Woo.
Yeah.
Woo.
So, and it would have been a couple containers worth. And I didn't have that budgeted.
Yeah.
You've got the money collected on a crowdfunding campaign. It's tough to actually deliver for that.
Hmm.
So I ended up flying the molds over to the US. I tried one manufacturer back in Erie who was bad news. It was too
Mm.
complex for him to manufacture.
Mm.
I brought the molds finally out to California, and that's my current manufacturer, and I love them. So we have been selling on our website since Black Friday 2022,
Hmm.
and sales have been good.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I mean, as you were kind of going through all of that, how did you keep your spirits up as an entrepreneur? How did you not get down on just things that sounds like were pretty out of your control at that point? It wasn't things that you were doing, necessarily wrong, just, the world. So how did you just keep your spirits up and just getting through all of that?
I look back and the thing that I think separates successful from unsuccessful entrepreneurs, the primary thing, well, you've got to have a decent product and ethics and all of that, but the most important thing is being able to problem solve. This, you reach a dead end this way, you start looking for other avenues.
Hmm.
And that's really what happened. It's like, okay, now what do I do next? Let's think about it. What's the best path forward? I can't even tell you how upset the manufacturer in Erie, the first one, they ended up costing me $300,000. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. As you're kind of going through this, what is your background though to even get into this? Did you run other companies, other businesses? I mean, how did you get into this?
I am a quick learner.
Okay.
And I have to say, I know a whole lot about manufacturing now that I would never have thought
Hmm.
that I needed to know. I had a background in finance
Okay.
and completely unrelated, but I'm a big dog lover,
Hmm.
have a scuba diver. I just love, my favorite trip in the world was, a month in Africa. I just love critters,
Hmm.
love watching them and having them and being part of, that, that journey with
Yeah.
animals in my life. And I wanted to have an easier way to pick up after my dogs. I just love my dogs, but that's one thing I really hated was picking up after them. So
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So as you're kind of going through the process though, of before even manufacturing, before Kickstarter, all this sort of stuff, how were you like? What did you have in your mind in terms of what you were looking for? Like, I know I wanted to do this. How are you prototyping these things, and just what was that process like?
my engineer who lives like 2 miles away from me, so I go over to his house all the time. I'm probably his only client that's seen inside his house. When we started designing this and making changes, well, first the Chinese manufacturer sent us prototypes, which worked. We made some tweaks. But when we had to alter it, he said, it's going to cost a lot of money for a prototype because the pail is large. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not huge, but it's large. And it's too large for most 3D printers. He goes,
Mm.
I will buy, if you go in half on a 3D printer with me, I will provide three free prints for you for life. And a 3D printer, one large enough to handle this, was $6,000. One set of prototype 3D printed prototypes would have been at least 3,000. So
Mm.
it made perfect sense.
Yeah. Hmm. What were you thinking about as you're going through design? Did you have sort of a list in your mind of like, I need it, it's got to do these three things, or this is the main thing it's got to do really well with a couple extra bells and whistles? Just how did you, because I'm assuming you could go a million different ways, right? It could get real big, real small, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Like, so how did you just have it, be focused in your mind to make sure that you were, designing towards like it doing what it does really well?
I wanted it to be clean to touch. No matter where you
Mm.
picked up the outside of the poo pail, I wanted it to be clean. It's okay if it gets a little dusty from sitting outside, but
Hmm.
I wanted it to be clean. My engineer who didn't get it at first, he goes, well, where do you want to store the scoop? It's got to be handy. I said, I want it to attach. And it's like, well, we could put it inside the pail. I said, I'm not reaching into a dirty pail to grab a scoop. No, it's got to hang and be clean. I said, as a
Hmm.
matter of fact, when the scoop hangs, it can't touch anything because the
Right.
end of it is going to be poopy. And
Right. Sure.
I don't want that touching anything. It had to be ergonomic. I wanted to be able to just pick this up and pick up the poo pail, go scoop, set it down, and not worry about it until trash day. The third thing is I hate single-use plastic bags. I wanted to make sure that the bags were biodegradable and home compostable. I've learned a lot about bags as well. There's industrial compostable, home compostable. There's a lot of people who advertise biodegradable bags, but only because they're made with like 10% biodegraded material. I wanted a bag that was truly biodegradable, that, you put it in the trash and, within a year or two, it's gone.
Right. Right.
So that was important too. Those are probably the three biggest things.
Yeah. I'm going to go back further. As you're planning this idea out and with the finance background, how are you looking at pricing the model to decide that I want to go into this, right? Like, I mean, you already mentioned about, buying a 3D printer and the cost of the guy in Erie. So as you were just working through budgets and going, all right, is it an Amazon product? Is it in stores? What kind of questions were you asking yourself to say, yeah, this is something I want to dive into?
Well, I looked at what my cost to manufacture would be,
Hmm.
and I looked at what it was selling for. Because I was approached by a number of companies that wanted to do licensing deals to begin with. And they said, we'll pay you 7 cents on the dollar. And I'm thinking, 7 cents, I can make so much more. Uh,
Hmm.
Looking back, I should have jumped at the 7 cents.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
Right.
This has a lot of my retirement money in
Hmm.
it. And I am of an age where I just can't go earn that again. That's the other thing is I don't have a choice. This has to succeed.
Right.
But, the other thing that kept me going for a long time was, the success of the original crowdfunding campaign, $1,000 in 30 days or $560,000 in 30 days. Mm, I kept thinking, this can be a hit. Everybody that
Hmm.
has a dog in a backyard across America should want this. And beyond that, in Canada and the UK and
Hmm.
Australia, right now I'm only selling in the US. I'm planning on branching out further. So
And is that all right now just sells? Is that only through the website, direct to consumer, or are you looking at going into stores or anything like that?
I'm looking at all of it. Yes.
Mm.
Right now, I'm only selling through my website, goodwag.com. I have just gone on to Walmart, but haven't started advertising there. Walmart online.
Hmm.
I'm about to go on to Chewy, which is good. I have not gone on to Amazon yet. I did try Amazon last year, and the sales through Amazon kind of hurt the sales online for my part.
Mm. Sure.
It detracted from selling myself online. So
Hmm.
I wasn't ready to make that leap. And so I cut back Amazon, or I actually pulled my products from Amazon. I'm kind of transitioning now, I believe. We'll see how this goes, but I am looking at transitioning to selling only online through other platforms. The reason why is, I've been marketing on Meta, on Google, and other platforms. The reason why is because, somebody's online on TikTok or wherever, and they're
Hmm.
watching some cute little dog video, and up pops an ad for PooPail, which they may click on. And then it's like, well, they're not looking to buy.
Right.
I just paid for a click, paid for advertising for somebody that's not in the market to buy. I would
Hmm.
rather advertise on a place where people are already there to buy.
Sure. And what kind of platforms are those? Because I was wondering, my next question was going to be, obviously, I'm assuming you're doing mostly ads, paid ads, Google, et
Yes.
cetera, like you were saying. But what are those types of platforms? Is that marketing on a Walmart type of thing where people are literally shopping, or I
Yeah.
guess is it an Instacart or something like that? I guess I don't know that world as much.
No, Instacart, I think, is for groceries.
Well, they have
Walmart,
everything. So Instacart now has everything. That's why I was wondering, because you can buy like almost anything now. Somebody goes and picks it up and brings it. So like Ace Hardware, I bought stuff from there and had it delivered. So it's almost like like a maybe DoorDash or Uber Dash, one of those types of things. So
yeah, I'm not selling at a retail location yet. So there'd be nowhere for them to go
Yeah.
pick it up, but that'd be something to look into for sure.
Yeah.
So I was on TikTok Shop and, what the other platforms I already mentioned, Google
Hmm.
Ads, Instagram, Facebook, and I will advertise on, the other platforms, Walmart, Chewy, eventually
Right.
Amazon. And I'm looking at there's a lot of other platforms that assist with pet products that don't take too much of a cut because they do have
Hmm.
platform fees.
Hmm.
So I'll look at doing some of those, and hopefully I've got one company working at getting me into big box stores.
Right. And as you're doing marketing right now and you have those expenses, how are you sort of managing and maintaining good creativity, making sure that the ads don't get stale, creating new stuff seasonally, maybe? I don't even know. I guess however often you feel like you got to update content. What does that sort of look like behind the scenes in terms of just approaching marketing in today's world in your mind?
I um I am, I had one company handle my crowdfunding campaign and they just do crowdfunding campaigns and they did a successful job. Like I said,
Hmm.
560,000 30 days. They then opened up to e-commerce about the time that I was ready to start selling on e-commerce, but they're not really geared towards e-commerce like the long-term solution. So
Hmm.
I just recently, after all this time, have kind of looked at doing new marketing companies and they're going to be doing more kind uh weekly videos, different videos, and marketing more that way.
Yeah. So have you looked into, as you're talking, have you looked into like the user generated content using AI where literally, you pick your person that you want and they hold up the product and it's all AI driven so you can scale? Have you looked into those
I
platforms
have
yet?
not yet.
Yeah.
I need to get there. I do use AI. I haven't been able to, and that has just been Chat GPT, but
Yeah.
I need to look into more because I can't seem to do much with Chat GPT. So
Yeah.
I need to look into other companies. I believe that there's quite a few that are
Yeah.
now branching out and doing this.
Yeah. So, kind of moving past marketing, where are you sort of on products, new things coming down the pipeline? How do you think about now starting to maybe expand out? Like, okay, we've got it sounds like you have your flagship product.
Yes.
What else starts coming off of that? And how do you start to think about, increasing those cart orders? I'm assuming, hey, put more stuff in the cart if you're buying from me.
Well, I've kind of like, you've got to specialize. I don't want to sell, hats along with poop
Sure.
pails.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at staying within the pet waste industry. That
Hmm.
includes all kinds of products that are related, such as supplements, to
Mm,
help with a healthy gut
sure.
and
Yeah.
for your dog. One of the other things is going to be I've heard more intimate stories about dog poop. Well, how do you pick up the runny stuff? I am not kidding. I've had more conversations about it than you can imagine.
Yeah.
And, and one of the comments that I see too is like, well, how do you pick it up when it's not so, hard?
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
one of the other products is actually like a spray that freezes it so that you can
Oh,
pick
interesting.
it up
Yeah.
really easily.
Hmm. Right.
Not every dog has that, but that's again where the supplements may help. I know
Right.
some smaller dogs have more issues with
Hmm.
digestion.
Yeah.
Sometimes larger dogs do too. So, that will help. There's other products that are going to be, I've got one, I sell smart poopy walking bags, which are just for when you walk your dog I like because they're longer.
Mm,
They're almost as long as if you remember the old newspapers that used to come with a rain sleeve. People used
yeah.
to fight
Hmm.
over those because they were so long to pick up dog poop. But
Yep.
again, they're a plastic bag. Why preserve
Right.
dog poop in plastic forever?
Hmm.
So I created the like extra long smart poopy walking bags and they come with a little dispenser and carabiner hook that hooks to your leash. So you've always got them available. I am coming out with working on Poopy Scoopy, which is a similar product. My engineer actually calls it like a mini PooPail, but it doesn't offer storage. So for those
Gotcha.
people who want to have, like a separate trash can or a separate, like they have the like a diaper genie for dog poop, or they even have
Right.
backyard flushable toilets for dog poop. This would work with any of those, so that it doesn't have the storage. You just flush it or get rid of it every time.
Yeah.
There's another product that I wanna come out with called Shtick, which is SH stick, and you know what the SH is for. But, that is for older people as they walk their dog. Older people, of which I'm becoming one quickly, a lot of them have back or balance issues, and they need to get out and exercise. Their dog needs to, but they don't leave the house because they can't bend over and pick up dog
Mm,
poop. So
right.
they all need to socialize. So this will be something small that they can carry with them and pick up single piles.
That's awesome. How do you handle shipping and fulfillment right now? How does that handle?
My manufacturer in Los Angeles that I love drop ships all of my orders for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I was wondering if you are warehousing it or you're in that world as well, because that could be a whole nother animal. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's awesome.
It would be. It's something like, I don't want to do that here. I'm in an expensive area.
Hmm.
And for me to rent a warehouse would be 10 grand a month. Plus I'd
Yeah.
have to
All right.
staff it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything else. They
Yeah.
charge us a nominal fee and drop ship all of my orders for me.
That's awesome. Where do you see kind of, we're looking at milestones right now, like where are you this time next year? And then maybe where are you 3 years out?
This time next year, I hope to be on, selling well. I've gotten some preliminary numbers from Walmart for sales,
Hmm. Hmm.
and which I expect to be the smallest of all the platforms. But even those numbers are great. And then with Chewy, so between what I'm already doing on my website and adding just those two platforms, sales should double in the next year, which is a big jump. And that's not even taking into consideration Amazon.
Right. Right. And then 3 years out, is it another flagship product or just something that's really kind of also driving a good amount of sales, or is it just really focusing on just continuing to get this product out more and more?
Well, in addition to those platforms, I then want to set up 3PL and in Canada, the UK,
Mm,
Australia,
sure.
EU, because when I had my original crowdfunding campaign, 10% of my sales, even though I didn't market there, 10% of my sales were international.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And
Mm,
originally I was, looking at the shipping from China to them, so it would have been a whole lot less expensive. But then when I brought manufacturing here,
yeah.
for me to ship a PooPail to the UK is $140.
Right.
It's just not feasible. So
Yep.
it's something, it's going to be a big jump to do that.
Right.
And
Right.
I've got to be on solid footing before I start looking into that kind of stuff, because I'm going to have to be starting over in those areas.
Right. Right. What's keeping you up at night? What's the main one that's maybe you're like, man, I really got to make sure that we knock this out every month, every year, whatever it is?
Well, it's always money. It's always money. It's always money. As I mentioned, it's really expensive to create a company, to manufacture the molds, because after PooPail came out, I received a number of, I won't say complaints, but I sent out and I've always been interested in customer feedback, because
Hmm.
I can create the best product, but if nobody wants to buy it, it's not all that great. So I asked all my early crowdfunding backers what they wanted to see, and the things that they came up with made perfect sense. So I redesigned
Mm,
it. I bought new molds,
mm,
and not all of the molds, but a few, quite a few pieces. And
hmm.
so with that, and there's just not, for a young company, there's not money available.
Right.
There's
Right.
hard money there. I looked at doing an equity crowdfunding campaign,
Hmm.
and I've got such a large backer list that when I talked, I don't know if you want me to say the platform, when I talked to this
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Start Engine, when I talked to the salesperson on this platform and said, I sent out an email to all of my email list, and I have 3,000 people who have signed up that are ready to back you know,
Hmm.
if I did an equity crowdfunding campaign. Well, that quickly turned into, I guess it's got less than a 1% sign up rate. It goes, "Oh, for that, you should get 100, no problem, because you needed 100 to meet their threshold before they would start promoting it." So I went ahead with it. You have to
Hmm.
go from I went from a C to an S corp, or
S
from
corp.
an
Yeah.
S to a C
S.
corp.
Yep.
We had to, attorneys were 10 grand. You have
Hmm.
to have a CPA do an audit on the last few years. They have platform fees. You pay for advertising. So I raised a total of, I think it was $30,000, and paid $100,000 to do it. So what I thought was going to be a help turned into just another expense.
Right.
Um, that's the thing that keeps me up at night. Being a young company, having all these startup costs, they look at, most lenders will look at you and say, "You're not profitable yet."
Yep.
So I thought the equity crowdfunding campaign would work. No.
Yes.
Even women entrepreneurs have a higher success rate for companies, yet they receive only 1.5% of funds.
Yep.
It is tough. And I
Hmm.
won't sugarcoat that. I came from an industry where I worked on straight commission, where it didn't hurt me to be female. But this is still a thing, you know?
Yeah. That's yeah, it is. It is. So where do you see right now? I'm assuming on any sort of fundraising or investment, that type of stuff. I got to imagine in your world, it's just make a good product, sell a good product, right? Just good, get more customers, right? Just put good money behind good money instead of going over here. Is that where you just kind of see where the company really is right now, where the footing is?
Yeah, I'm doing kind of slow growth.
Hmm.
Except for that I'm adding these other avenues, and that's kind
Right.
of where I see myself going more, is branching out into platforms where people are there just to buy.
Right, right, right. Well, where should we send people if they're listening and they would like to learn more and dive in? I'm assuming the website, but is there any place that we can send people if they want to dive in?
GoodWag.com, they can always reach out to me, which is Sandy at GoodWag.com.
Very cool. Well, this is a great conversation. I love hearing stories and the journeys of all this. Put 3 or 4 products out into the market too. So everything you're saying, that is what I had to deal with as well. So it is a lot of work. So for all my listeners out there, obviously you guys have listened before. Go to the show notes. You guys can click on. I'll have all the links in there. Go check out Sandy's product. If you've got an animal, got a dog, you probably a really good product for you. But Sandy, again, appreciate you taking time out of your day. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the products and selling good stuff out there. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.